Keep the shipments coming. So prep your mails box and get ready for Adam's Monthly Nut. Hurry, we will sell out.
Give me the news with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking viral, all those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad. Trouble in the Middle East. Celebrity drunk meltdowns. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Quick update. The two top reviewers, or at least the two reviews for Out of Africa from 85 that came in 2020, rotten. So that's now.
Time has not been kind out of Africa.
Well, we have to factor this in now. You remember it won the Academy Award. It was universally loved.
Yep.
Now there's a few people that weren't born in 1985 that are all woke and no joke, and they found some issues. Because somebody shot Cecil the Lion, and now they're going to deduct some points, and we have to now factor that in when we're doing these things.
Having never seen either one, what do you assume is a more boring movie, Out of Africa, or Bridges of Madison County?
I'm sure Bridges is much more interesting.
Really?
Well, they got the melodrama and the love and the violin.
Doesn't he go there to take pictures of bridges?
Bridges.
Okay.
The setting difference.
I don't know.
Exactly. One's sweeping. So the prosecution rested its case in the Harvey Weinstein rape trial on Thursday. During the 2 weeks of testimony, jurors heard from 6 accusers who claimed the movie mogul had either raped or assaulted them. Now the defense will have its turn to call witnesses, though it's not believed Weinstein himself is going to take the stand. Among the witnesses the defense is expected to call, according to Fox News, is a psychologist who specializes in human memory. Weinstein's,
always a great sign.
Right.
Always a great sign when you don't you don't take the stand in your own defense, but you did the person taking the stand attacks the witnesses.
These bitches lying.
On the other side.
Weinstein's attorneys plan to raise doubts about the women's recollections of the incidents that in some cases are more than 2 decades old. And just so everyone's clear, because there's been a lot of women, a lot of testimony, Weinstein faces numerous charges for alleged assaults on Jessica Mann and Miriam Haley. Those are the two that we're actually talking about. If convicted, he could get a life sentence.
Could we work out some sort of algorithm? There's a few things that we have, which is there's time served. They do that thing where it's like, well, he was in while he was waiting to go. So it's like he did some time, so we're going to deduct that from his time. And then if you talk to Mark Garagos, who'll be in here in an hour, he'll talk about earning potential and things of that nature. If the cop shoots the poor Mexican janitor guy on his front lawn, he says, $350 grand. He didn't have a lot of earning potential. So factoring in sentencing, let's say, guilty verdict, and now there's a sentencing. Now, if this is just your run-of-the-mill rapist, then you go, all right, 10 years or 15 years or whatever it is. This is a guy who we have to factor in a few things. He's no longer employable.
Right.
He can no longer, his earning potential went from millions to zilch, like overnight. And the world knows that his dick looks like someone put an M80 up his urethra and let it go.
It's like when Bugs Bunny sicks the banana in Elmer Fudd's, shotgun, and he pulls the trigger, and it splays.
Right.
That's exactly what we're
talking about. So now you've completely been humiliated because people say, he looks like a female snowman who spilt hot coffee on her pussy, naked. He lactates. He's covered with hair and areolas and all that kind of stuff.
Areolas.
And he cannot work anymore. Areolas and everything else. Could we work an algorithm where the guy, he's divorced, his adult kids won't talk to him anymore.
He's suffered enough.
He's a
served.
I'm not saying no time, but we do a little algorithm where it's like, can't work, cannot go into a Starbucks without having somebody throw something at him. Like, we're going to deduct him because look, the whole deal is you need to repay your debt. Repay your debt to society or repay your debt. I would argue that having your name be completely destroyed, having you be unable to work in your chosen profession, and your family's destroyed and blah blah blah, that's debt. Like you paid a lot. You've paid. Now we could sit you in a box. That's fine, but
and then we have to pay for you.
This is a gift that keeps giving, though, man. I mean, you've been destroyed.
Yeah.
Sister, I don't know if it's a laminate with a bunch of numbers on it. But I'm just saying, if I'm the judge, I'm factoring it in.
It's like taxes. Just put a bunch of figures in, and you know what I mean. TurboTax
Crunch the
spits out a
numbers.
number. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a very interesting episode of Black Mirror where in John Hamm's in it. It's a great episode, but basically in the future, instead of going to jail, your whole life, everything that we see in reality is like Facebook or Instagram. So you're blocked. So when you walk around, people can't see your face. They don't know who you are. You can't make them out.
Well,
so it's kind of that socially.
Biblically, it's an interesting thing. I'm not a scholar, but biblically, like, back then, we used to know that, like, ruining the person's name, like ruining their name, was like the biggest, the worst thing you could do to someone.
Because you had your word and your name.
Yeah, there was dueling.
At dawn.
Right. Now it's tummy sticks at noon. People are softer. There's an interesting story that Prager was telling when we were in Palm Desert last weekend. And I've heard him say it before, and I don't know, Max, Pat, if you can help me recall this because you were there, but it's basically like the person had besmirched the name of the rabbi. He'd like ruined his name. He'd told lies about him and spread his name all around the village. And then the person had gone to the person and they said, I've done you wrong, Rabbi. How can I make this up to you? And he said, bring me a down-filled pillow. And they said, okay. And they brought him the down. Do you know this one?
Yeah, well, and they also, it's in doubt as well about a priest, but yes.
Oh, all right. So they did the same.
It's a common story.
It's a common story, but it's interesting. And I think
it really
doesn't apply to Weinstein, but it does apply into what we're talking about. And then he said, okay. And he brought him the pillow. And he said, now bring me another down-filled pillow. And he said, okay, are we good now? And the rabbi or the priest said, no, we're not quite done yet. And he said, now tear open this down-filled pillow. And he said, okay. And he said, now scatter all the feathers to the wind. And he said, okay, are we done now? And he said, no, not until you find every single feather and put it back in this pillow, which is what happens when you say something about someone, you call them this, and then it gets spread out, and now it's on your permanent record. And even if the one place does a retraction, it doesn't matter. It's still everywhere else. I would argue that your name destroyed is the ultimate.
Your legacy.
That's kind of what I used to argue with.
Ask Ponzi.
Well, yes.
It's associated synonymously with scams.
When he was sitting in his jacuzzi coming up with his Ponzi scheme way back in 1871. What year was Ponzi?
It was like the Depression era, I think.
And did it have something to do with tariffs or stamps? Max Pat will look it up.
Yeah, it was stamps, international stamps, and he was getting refunds from sending things out, and he figured out a way to make money off it.
Sounds legit, actually.
What year is that?
I believe it was right before 1920. I'm checking it again.
So, now, your name being destroyed, what could possibly be worse? And then when I was talking to Gloria Allred about it, and she was talking about Michael Richards all those years ago, and she's like, well, don't you think he should be punished? And I said, he is. He's a pariah. His name is no good. He's not employable.
She posited that it might be helping him.
Well, it's true. But the jury's still out. That's why I announced I had a crystal brain, because she said I didn't have a crystal ball. Now, it's been 13 years or so. He's still a pariah. I've been to every comedy club in the United States. He's not there.
He's not on the bill.
He's not on the bill.
He'll be on our show tomorrow.
He's not popping up on TV commercials. He's not doing anything. He's done. Then her thing was like, he shouldn't pay. And I was like, don't you think he'd love to write you a check and have this all go away? Don't you think Weinstein would love to write a check and have it all go away?
He had done that multiple times, apparently.
Michael Richards would have been much better off going to jail for 3 years and then coming out and having everyone's memory wiped clean of what he did on that stage at the Laugh Factory. So your reputation, man, it's a lot more than an emotional thing. You don't get to earn anymore
it's
either.
Huge. When they reshuffle the deck, you have no money, possessions. That's what's left with you.
Right. All right. sorry, where were we?
So that's that. And we'll see what the defense does next week. The city of L.A. will hold a public memorial at Staples Center, an official one, because it's just been a memorial ever since Kobe Bryant died. That'll be on February 24th for Kobe and his daughter, Gina, and the 7 others killed in that chopper crash. This is according to L.A. Times. The event will come nearly a month after the crash that killed them, and we're getting those details now that, they said that they had retrofitted the helicopter and it had too many passengers in it, and I'm sure we're going to continue to get more information about that.
Retrofitted but not with the terrain.
Well, no, with the actual amount of seats that were available inside.
They put too many seats in there, and the weight was too great.
One of the things they found right now is that particular helicopter didn't originally come with that many seats.
So, from what I've gathered, or what I can make of it, the pilot's at X amount, 100 feet, 1,000 feet, and whatever, and he says, I want to come up. There's cloud. There's too much cloud. So he goes up, and then he makes like a hard left, and then he goes into a mountain. So he thought he was going above,
clearing it,
clear it, and then he was going to move out, and it didn't have the terrain sensor, which would have gone off, obviously. So hopefully he went up in this cloud bank, made a hard left thinking he was over the top of the mountains, and just went right into the side of a mountain.
Right.
In which case, anyone who was in the helicopter wouldn't have known the better until the last moment of hitting the mountain. Because it doesn't suggest, they haven't talked about mechanical failures of any kind, and no one saw like a puff of smoke come out of the whatever. And seems like it was pilot error and no terrain sensing error.
That's what we know as of now, and it's been less than a month. But yeah, I'm sure that's a very good point. And of course, the date's significant. February 24th. That's Gianna's number was 2, which they retired at her school, and the Mamba Academy, and Kobe's was 24. And Staples hosted the memorial for Michael Jackson, for Nipsey Hussle. Remember what a hot ticket that Michael Jackson memorial was? They gave out a certain amount and just packed the place. Staples is 20,000. So I'm sure there will be 20,000 tickets distributed.
I've been to the Mamba Academy.
Yeah, in Newhall.
Or no, it's in whatever
Thousand Oaks.
Lakeview Terrace or where. No, it's something that we can never figure out. We always think it's one of those, but it's
in that enclave.
Newberry Park.
Park,
okay.
yeah, that's the Newhall part of this equation. Yeah, it's just this big fat.
Wait, didn't you have to pay for admission, or they only took cash?
Everything is. First off, the fucking kids. You see the kids running up and down. They got the one legging on and the other legging bare, and the knee pads and the long sleeves, and they're wearing opera gloves, and they have. First off, just the apparel. Right. Like back in the day, you'd show up. They had the East Valley Trojans had a shack, Max Zapata. You can probably find a picture. The East Valley Trojans owned a shack that was across from North Hollywood Park on the other side of the train tracks on Chandler, Max Zapata Boulevard. I think, on the other side of the train tracks. It was literally a shack, like a house that was from the 20s. And you'd walk in there, and they'd go like shoulder pads, helmet. They'd put like a bucket on your head and go, all right, and then they go, all right, bring all this shit back at the end of the year, otherwise we're going to charge you for it. And you just wear someone else's shoulder pads, someone else's helmet, someone else's thigh pads, someone else's everything. And at the end, you just turn it all in. You had to provide cleats and a pair of sanitary socks, like high white socks. And other than that, hey, if you're rich, you could get a couple elbow pads or wristbands or something like that. These kids are fully outfitted now. The kids have the gloves, have the diver gloves, and all. It's all nuts.
I remember my first exposure to this because, like you, stuff was just handed out. I mean, for Little League, like, here's your jersey, here's your whatever. And when I was coaching at Harvard Westlake, when I was coaching football, we had practice, we had 2 days, whatever. The first game, fucking kids I was coaching JVs, 14-year-old Jewish kids showed up, decked out in Under Armour. Under Armour it was like the thing. It was 2003, 2004, and like gloves, Under Armour, like sleeves. And stuff. I was like, what the fuck? What, how's this going to help you?
It's not. It's the
you can't
kids.
Block.
The kids are the equivalent to the fat cyclist guy who has the $10,000 Specialized bike and the clip-in cleat shoes, and he's sponsored by Cinzano, but he's got a gut. and he's only going to the Denny's. But I mean, he looks like
the part.
looks like a professional cyclist, but you can tell by his shape he's not. But now it's access to everything. So the Mamba Academy has like 10 courts going all at once. There's a whole area where you can sit and get massaged. And I mean, it is a major facility.
Jeez,
and it's
beautiful.
Going 24/7, and there's parking, and there's people taking money, and it's a whole thing. And the kids just, we'd play on blacktop with, big ruts and cracks and everything. And
chain nets.
Argue over which, either chain nets or no nets, right, which side had the net or whatever it is. And these kids are all just playing these state-of-the-art facilities.
That's amazing. I didn't see bleachers anywhere.
No, everyone just stands around. They put up like gill nets like in between all the courts because the balls are going to get loose. Yeah. And there's about 5 or 6 feet around the court, and everyone just sort of stands there. Okay. And then I try to stand in a place where no one's going to see me texting people on my phone. Although, to be fair to me, when Sonny gets in the game, I occasionally look up. And then at some point, my whole thing is trying to figure out whose mom is going to take Sonny home from Newbury Park because the fucking schedule's like, we have the early game at 9:30, and then if we win that game, there's an 11 o'clock game, then there's brunch, then there's lunch, then there's the snack hour, then we have an afternoon game. If we win the afternoon game, we sleep there. We drop out of school, and we start a new life at the Mamba Academy. That's we win.
Yeah. Semifinals are at 8 a.m.
If we lose, we get in a van and we go to Mexico. So you need to pick us up from Mexico on Wednesday. That's if we lose.
You need to be ready for all scenarios.
If we win, then you have to come back here at midnight.
Yeah. And Champions at 12:30 a.m.
We'll be on the roof. And it's like, for the love of fuck. All I do is go find other parents. Go, you love your kids, right? Yeah, your son, yeah, you seem trustworthy. What year was your car? 2013? Oh, good enough. Good enough.
That's
all right.
couple zones.
Would you find my kid? It's Sunday. I'm going to go live my life.
I think he's here.
He's here somewhere. Just get that kid and bring him back to my house later on tonight. And then there's always some good family that'll do that.
So far, you haven't lost him.
No, but they literally want you to dedicate your day
I'm not interested.
to this shit.
No.
And by the way, Super Bowl Sunday be damned. Oh, they schedule the shit.
Yeah.
They schedule it's Sunday. Like, there's a little something called the Super Bowl. Yeah, but we scheduled games. Are they fucking nuts? Mm-hmm. What's wrong with them? Now, look, for them, it's a money grab. Mm-hmm. And
earning,
right,
funds up.
So it's a perfect storm. They want money, and they have somehow convinced all of the moms and the dads to a certain extent,
the entire West Valley.
If you don't sign up for this shit, that never ends. There's no season. Nothing ever sunsets. There's no off season. It just bleeds. One sport just bleeds the next one. If you're not all in on driving people to Orange County on Saturday, you have to be there by 6:30, and then we're just going to stay. If you're not all in, then you're the fucking worst parents in the world. You're Jodi Arias.
Those are your choices?
Pretty bad.
Who married one of the McMartins. That's a preschool joke.
It's kind of awful down here with the traffic, too, right?
Oh, my God.
You mean the South Bay McMartins?
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Thank you. It took me a second.
But the point is this.
They didn't do it.
You're Jody McMartin. The point is this. Then you get into these, like, negotiations. Like, 6:30. I'm doing a show at midnight at the Ice House. Well, we can see if so-and-so can pick up Natalia on the way in and then to go in later. But it's in Orange County, and it's all day, and it's spread out. What games did you have that were like multiple all-day affairs?
Never.
Just had a game on Saturday, and then you went home.
You go to the other kid's local school 10 minutes away. You don't leave the county.
Right. Anyway,
Gross.
That's where it is.
So there's been some, we've had some hot memorial and in memoriam talk lately. So just to give you an idea of what this one's going to look like or what it looked like, Kirk Douglas in the in memoriam for the Oscars.
He will be?
And was. He was. And it was a grand affair.
He was in last year's?
No.
No, the show airs on Monday.
Oh,
yeah, it's all right.
Chris, you're distracting me.
So they
Took
said
me a second, too.
I was trying to correct myself.
But did he make the cutoff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think he may have been, great-great-grandfather
Uh-huh.
then. And they realized that maybe the backlash ain't worth it. A lot of last-minute scrambling and re-editing.
They have to put Kobe in there, too, guys. An Oscar winner.
That's true. Mm-hmm. And we will officially give you the word on that tomorrow.
If Gayle King had any kind of guts at all, when Kobe's picture came up, she'd be like, "Get him off! He's a rapist!"
Let's not forget his troubled past. His complicated past.
So the Friends sitcom is returning, sort of, for a one-time show to launch the streaming service HBO Max. The cast has negotiated a pretty sweet deal. It's a 60-minute unscripted program. So unclear what it's actually going to be, and they're getting $4 million for it. Warner Brothers,
$4 million,
I think, each. Because that's how they roll on Friends.
You know what you want? You know what you want for your ensemble cast? You want a very successful show with an ensemble cast, but not oodles of success individually. Like Aniston has gone on to do a lot of stuff, but everyone else is kind of open to getting together.
Gettable.
And Aniston's cool, so they get together.
Interesting you say that. Guess who the holdout was?
Jennifer Aniston.
Matthew Perry.
Matthew Perry. Does he have a lot cooking, or he just
don't know?
Set for life and doesn't
they
care?
Said they anticipate the show to take place this spring. The last holdout, according to this, was Matthew Perry. Then he tweeted a little message saying, "Big news coming." It seems this one-off event is all fans are going to get. Even David Schwimmer said recently, like, there's no reboot for Friends. It was, we went out on top. We're done. But,
they're doing one?
It's 1 hour unscripted. So who knows what the hell that's going to be? Are they just getting together and kibitzing about the old days? I don't know.
Wow. That's,
we'll see this spring.
Doing a full hour of semi-improvised sitcom comedy would be very heavy lifting.
I don't think they're doing a Herald.
No, I think they're just doing like a half circle
like a remember when.
The moderator.
Right.
We're going to have to get Andy Cohen.
Oh, yeah. Watch what happens.
Yeah.
That's
well,
right.
I'll tell you what I've learned for being alive in 2020. You need a gay guy to moderate. That's what you need.
That's the truth.
And maybe Anderson Cooper, Don Lemon, possibly.
Good job, Chris.
You don't want O'Reilly in there asking questions.
No, nobody would
It's not going to work. You need a gay guy.
So are you guys really friends?
So remember I told you the other day about Disney going after that little school in California for showing The Lion King that they bought at Walmart? Well, Bob Iger has realized that was bad optics, and the Disney CEO has apologized for his company fining the elementary school for showing The Lion King at a fundraiser. The school in Berkeley, California was hit for $250 after they raised $800 to do a little parents' night out and have the movie on in the background. Faculty and parents then asked for help to offset the fine on the school's PTA page. Then Thursday, Iger apologized and promised to personally donate to the school's fundraising initiative. Because that didn't look so good.
Yeah, somebody tweeted me earlier today that kids or schools pay like a flat fee of like $250, and that covers the licensing
That's the $250
for the year.
Do they pay Disney or do they pay the MPAA? Like, are you know what I'm saying? Like, are you restricted to only?
I don't know if it's like ASCAPy sort of rules or not. I don't know if you can find it, Max Bad. But it's like earlier this morning, somebody shot me a tweet and goes, "There's just a flat fee that people pay."
That's where the $250 came from.
Then there's that, and then you can play whatever you want to play once you've done that, which makes me go, all right, that sounds reasonable for school.
But don't you dare go rogue and buy your own copy at Walmart and show it to 20 people at a time.
Yeah, and we're also living in a new world order where companies' image is so important that this formerly didn't exist.
Right.
Like, Union Carbide pollutes a river, and they're like, yeah, well, fuck it. Fuck the people that haven't moved. Then people
Don't drink the water.
near the river are poison. Yeah, well, tell them to move to Phoenix.
Tell the dummies to stop drinking it.
Drink motor oil. Our motor oil.
Yeah. But now everyone's got to jump in and get involved, and he's got to make them whole again.
That's
and
right.
Blah blah blah. I don't know what that rule or that thing was, Max Pat.
You do need a license. I'm looking it up right now. There's a bunch of copyright laws and just a bunch of weird things within it. So
but that flat fee would make sense.
Yep.
Especially the licensing company. Well, speaking of movies, 22 years after the debut of The Big Lebowski, the first look at the film
92.
spinoff is here. Yeah?
People love that film.
It was much later than that.
I was saying to score.
I meant
I was like, I think my paper's wrong.
That's
John Turturro is directing and starring in The Jesus Rolls. And I'm just going to show you the visual on mute because it's really just music. It's expected to be released later this year. No official date's been set. John Hamm, Susan Sarandon, Audrey Tautou, Bobby Cannavale, Christopher Walken, all in the movie. And I have a little synopsis here that came with the release. Hours before being released from prison for good behavior.
Writer-director John Turturro?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Jesus Quintano, John Turturro, reunites with his best friend and fellow underachiever Petey, played by Bobby Cannavale. In a series of rapidly escalating bad decisions, they steal a vintage car parked in front of an upscale salon and hit the road for a no-holds-barred joyride. And then antics ensue.
I've never seen the movie straight through.
Really? I'm
Start to
surprised.
finish. Everyone loves it. I've always felt like maybe it was a little overrated.
Interesting
or
thing
people
about that.
like quoting it.
Well, interesting thing about Big Lebowski, Anderson and I talk about this all the time. It was not it was not as beloved when it came out. You know, it was kind of confusing. It was their follow up to Fargo, and it would confuse people. And it was like, I guess that was kind of funny or weird or whatever.
What did I just watch?
And it's become a huge. There's Big Lebowski festivals and blah blah blah. You know, there's
how would you rank it as a movie? You just watched the whole thing straight through. How good? How funny? How interesting?
Really good, really funny. I don't see it as funny as a lot of like the devotees, but I like it a lot.
I'd rather watch Raising Arizona, but it's still a funny and great movie.
I prefer it to Raising Arizona.
Interesting.
But
Interesting.
That's dangerous talk around these parts. I love
True
Raising
about
Arizona.
it, yeah.
Well, Raising Arizona was groundbreaking in many ways.
True.
The camera work and stuff
Right.
like that. Anyway.
But you should watch it. You're certainly not going to be like, oh, I wish I could have that 2 hours back.
Yeah,
It's
I
great.
wonder how sometimes when movies are very quotable, like The Dude Does Not Abide,
yeah.
that kind of stuff, I
No,
think
Roll on Shabbos.
they
Takes a
go.
life of its own.
Yeah. It's $350 for an annual license.
Okay.
Could be more depending on the size of the school. And $75 for a single event.
What if you could show any movie?
Is that just for Disney, Maxipata? Or is that just a general licensing with like whatever?
That's general licensing.
Like
So
an
kind of-
ASCAP kind of thing would
yeah.
be. All right.
Yeah, it's always weird, especially like when we try to order pay-per-view at your other warehouse. Since you're technically a business, they want to charge us the pay-per-view price times capacity whenever we do it. So
Times 1,000 people.
Exactly. So I've always had to argue with them whenever we do pay-per-view. Like, this is insane. There's only going to be like 5 people watching.
Yeah, it's funny. I hadn't brought it up, but I kept thinking about that notion of if you have a sports bar and you order the pay-per-view,
Right.
you're charging
You're
people
making
to
a
come
honey
in
of a deal.
to watch the McGregor fight. You don't get that deal. You have to. They factor it in.
Right. You're not just paying the $85.
No, because you're charging people $20 to
Right.
come into your bar and
Right.
watch this fight. They've figured that part out.
You know what you got to do? You got to start charging.
No more free rides, Chris.
Yeah,
You've had
you know
it too
what?
good
We're,
for too
we're
long.
approaching this problem from the wrong direction. You're trying to get
Hey.
them down.
Negotiate.
Thank you.
Instead, we
It's
should
called negotiate.
I got to get a doorman and a velvet rope
And
with
a clicker.
And a clicker.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, name on the list.
That's right.
I don't see a Maxipata on here. Larry King is speaking out about the downfall of his marriage to Sean Southwick, saying religion and their age gap eventually took its toll on the relationship. The television personality has been married 8 times, twice the same woman, and is on his way to his 8th divorce. The marriage was King's longest, and it was about 7 years.
Hey, when you're on your 8th divorce, do we really need the symposium about how,
Yeah.
we get it. That's what
Let's
you do. You
break
get
down the game
married
film.
and then you get divorced.
Yeah.
That's what you
their
do.
thing.
Yeah.
There was a 26-year age difference, and he said that since he says agnostic atheist, that's what he calls it, and she is a devout Mormon, it eventually caused problems.
The age difference is that she got tired of hearing stories about Sandy Koufax while they were eating soup.
I thought he was like Super Jew.
Well, I think, like a lot of us, I think he's a sort of a community Jew, not maybe a religious Jew like, say, Dennis Prager. More of a cultural Jew.
Gotcha. Bagels and
I mean,
Nate Nals.
And a schmear.
The guy was like...
He has matzah bread named after him
I
at
know.
Nate Now.
The guy was on his deathbed a few months back,
right.
and then I did his show down in studios 2 miles from here. I just did
Live
his
from
show.
the deathbed. Welcome, Carolla.
I did a show a few months ago.
Yeah. He's
Crazy.
bouncing back.
He just doesn't
Takes a
stop.
licking, yeah.
It's crazy. Well, I guess I'm trying to think. The longevity in the longevity world. If you work at like the GM plant or you're a steel worker or something like that, or a roofer or something like that, then you retire. Now you stop doing what you're doing, and then the age sets in pretty fast after that. If you host a show like he does, or you do whatever the version of that act or whatever, or you're a piano player, composer, or something like that, and there is no age to that. You just sort of keep going with it. Then you get up every morning with purpose, and then you ply your trade every morning, and then you seem to keep going. Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right.
So I know we don't do a lot of hot coronavirus talk on here, but this is some pretty sad irony. The Chinese doctor, who was reportedly detained for sounding the alarm about coronavirus before he was infected, has died, according to the hospital where he was being treated.
This is bad for Drew because he's angry at
I know. But this is more of sort of like a crazy cover-up. Wuhan Central Hospital initially posted on social media that Dr. Li Wang was in critical condition and later announced he died. The hospital said Li was, quote, unfortunately infected during the fight against the pneumonia epidemic of the new corona infection. We deeply regret and mourn this. Now, according to the BBC, this 34-year-old doctor said during a private chat with med school graduates in late December that several patients had symptoms similar to SARS. Later, he was detained by authorities and forced to say he made a false statement about the virus.
I hope he learned his lesson.
Whoopsie. So now I think we're over 600 deaths and I think 28,000 infected.
I saw one of the most disturbing, how you can kind of tell where we're going from watching the commercials.
Sure.
A lot of lawyers and class action lawsuits.
If you use Roundup weed killer.
Yeah, back in the day, it was a lot of learn how to drive a truck. Now there's sue somebody commercials. And then you start seeing pharmaceutical commercials where, like, you got to take this pill because you're backed up.
To counteract.
Hooked on pain meds.
Right, you need to be able to poop.
There is a new commercial which is... Oh, God. What did I showed it to Drew Maxipata. I think Gary probably has it, or Matt probably has it, but I got it written down somewhere. But I saw a new commercial and I just stared at it. It's a pill as a prophylactic to getting AIDS. So it's a new pill. It's not AZT.
Is it with the black guy?
It's many black men.
Okay, because I saw one of the black men like AIDS will not, hold him back.
And it is, first off, the commercial is all black and brown.
Okay.
And it's all take this new pill and then go out and do whatever you want, and then you're not going to get AIDS because the black and the brown people aren't wearing the condoms like they should be.
Precautionary.
Right. But of course, no free lunches in nature. And as I always talk about, unintended consequences. So now you got a bunch of black and brown people having unprotected sex. Well, they don't get AIDS, but they get other venereal diseases.
What if someone gets pregnant?
And gets pregnant. They're not telling you put a condom on. They're telling you take this pill and let your freak flag fly. And I said to Drew, look, I'm not a doctor, so I want to know your opinion on this. I know nature. Nature evolves. Organisms evolve.
As Jeff Goldblum says in Jurassic Park, nature finds a way.
Ooh, a quote from a movie, finally. All these years on. So
Dr. Ian Malcolm.
You start making bug spray to eradicate the whatever, and then they start getting immune to the bug spray. They can become super germs. And Drew said it's exactly how viruses work. They want to stay alive. You know what I mean? So now everyone takes the AIDS suppression pill, and now AIDS starts to
figure it out,
mutate and find a way, and then we get super AIDS. But here's the commercial, and you tell me how sad it is. It's a Hispanic dude at a book depository. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to step up, prep up.
Step up, prep up.
To help keep you free from the risk of HIV.
From the makers of Truvada, a new PrEP option. Descovy for PrEP, a once-daily prescription medicine that helps lower the chances of getting HIV through sex. It's not for everyone. Descovy for PrEP has not been studied in people assigned female at birth. Talk to your doctor.
Assigned female at birth?
Step up for health and body.
Prep up for your one and only love, or many loves. For kings, this queen, and you royals in between.
Oh, I like
my
that.
now.
Our now.
And my future. our future.
Step up, prep up.
Descovy is the newest way
You even got a black
Descovy
doctor.
does not prevent other sexually
Obviously an
transmitted
actor,
infections,
but-
so it's important to use safer sex practices and get tested regularly. You must be HIV negative to take Descovy for PrEP, so you need to get tested for HIV immediately before and at least every 3 months while taking it. If you think you were exposed to HIV or have flu-like symptoms, tell your doctor right away. They may check to confirm you are still HIV negative. Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems
All
and
right, you
kidney
get it.
failure.
Anyway, it's all black and brown people, and it's take this pill and don't then go do what you want.
Maybe it's a Trojan horse. You have to get tested before you get the pill. It's like giving away a lottery tickets to the Bills fans, and then you arrest them all.
That's right. Maybe they don't have the pill.
Maybe
they
there's
just wanna
there's
get you
no
in and get
such
tested.
medication.
Oh, yeah. The Coliseum, free cockfights
That's
for
right.
Raiders fans only. And then you just throw a net over every human being that comes through there.
What
Agreed.
was the female in the true crime convention? Or you had one for the ladies?
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
True
remember
Crime
now.
Podcast fan and con.
Yeah, I want to know.
I'm going to get booked.
Yeah, I'm going to
Zip
arrest
tied.
all of them. No, I think it's no. What I do is I have all my people at Taco Bell and Chick-fil-A, and if any mom orders Grubhub, any woman,
Yeah, that's
any
right.
able-bodied woman is ordering Taco
That's
Bell
it.
to be brought to her house on a weekday while the sun's shining,
Yep.
I'm busting your ass.
They get served right there while they get served.
That's right. We put all the work on a flour tortilla, and you get served. Don't eat it, bitch. There's a lot of legalese on there. All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Funky dog hit.